From the Aero Sports Tennessee home office along the banks of the Stones River in the heart of Rutherford County, this is the Coach Will Krieski Show. A weekly showcase of highlights, interviews, and insights from Riverdale head football coach Will Krieski. Now here's your host and play-by-play voice of the Warriors, Chris Bosen.
Welcome to episode 3 of the second season of the Coach Will Krieski Show here on Aero Sports Tennessee. I'm Chris Bosen with Riverdale head coach Will Krieski, and today we're going to preview Wednesday's home scrimmage with the Lipscomb Mustangs and take a look back at Titans Media Day earlier this summer with seniors Hudson Fuqua and Gavin Hampton. But we will start with last week's abbreviated scrimmage with the Summit Spartans. And Coach, it was a 3% chance of rain that turned into a cloud that lingered directly over Phil Watts Tomahawk Stadium and ultimately caused the scrimmage to be canceled after only 2 offensive series for the Warriors. Now, that was disappointing for the fans, for us in the media, but I'm sure it was even more disappointing for you, your staff, and the team.
Yeah, we need to go in there and get that work. We need to be able to get other guys work, build depth for the season and also have the guys get accustomed to running in and out on special teams. And Coach Coleman does a great job. He always has a physical team. And, we just needed more reps. You look at it, but I think a lot of, no matter if you scrimmaged on Thursday or Friday, I think a lot of teams in the mid-state had a abbreviated scrimmage or dealt with some kind of lightning issues or delays due to the weather. And, what I told the kids during our time when we were trying to get back out there is like, guys, this may happen. We had a 2.5 hour delay last year. So, we need to know how to handle the situation. And, I think it is. I mean, I like practicing everything. So, we got to practice the rain delay and the lightning delay. And I think the kids handled it well, during that time. Unfortunately, we couldn't get back out there to scrimmage like we both, Coach Coleman and I, wanted to be able to get it in, but we weren't able to get it in.
And I mean, a lot of teams I know, like you said, faced the same thing through the mid-state. Some went Saturday morning. Summit had made that trip over, and I'm guessing just things schedule-wise didn't make sense for them to come back or try to replay it on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, we probably could have done it Friday too, but I just think just with the schedules and what people have and picture day and media day, and just already had things preseason planned for those last 2 days. And we just couldn't get it worked out where we wanted. Both of us could come up with a common date to get it done.
With the limited number of plays that you did see, the offense had 2 possessions, each resulting in long touchdowns, one from Gavin Hampton to Brylan O'Dour. What did you think of your offense in that limited time that you got to see them on the field? Yeah,
they did well. The second one was actually to Gavin Johnson. I thought, Gavin's coming along and doing things well and getting the offense. And, Gavin's a kind of a track guy and he can run. And him and Gavin Hampton are getting on the same page and being able to connect. And that's a deep threat we like to have. And then O'Dour, he took a nice hitch and took it 66 yards to the house. But that's just his ability. And he broke some tackle. He's a big physical receiver. And that's the type of things we expect out of him.
The defense also looked pretty good in that limited time that we saw them on the field. We had talked last week about Summit's offense and the different things they try to do to disguise things to the defense and that communication piece amongst your linebackers, amongst other guys. What did you think of your defense and their ability to play well in those limited snaps?
I think they've done a good job. Jeremy Moore, he's a sophomore. He's coming along well. He played on the freshman team last year and was able to come up toward the end of the season and get some reps with us. And I think he's doing a good job in the middle. We have two linebackers that haven't done any scrimmages with us due to injuries. And, once we get those guys back, I think we'll have a 3 or 4 man rotation up there. Those guys are getting better. And, like I said, Jeremy, he's getting better. Hunter Hogue, he's also getting better. Both those kids are sophomores and they're getting a lot of reps right now in the preseason. And, we're expected Jeremy Thompson, hopefully, he'll be back this week. He's dealt with some hamstring issues through the summer, and now in preseason, he's done some stuff. He's been able to practice with us on limited type reps and limited situation. But our trainer, we have an excellent trainer in Robert Cooper, and he's doing a great job getting these guys game ready to go for week 1.
When you look at what was missed from the rest of that scrimmage, I mean, we played almost a quarter. I played about, 12 minutes or so of that rolling 15-minute clock. But how have you worked out what was missed from that rain out? Like, how do you go back in with your schedule? Because practice is pretty lined out as far as what you're working on. How do you replace what was missed from that rain out?
Well, we came back and went after school on Friday. That wasn't our intentions originally. We were originally just going to film and do a long lift, but we changed things around and we brought, after school, we watched a little bit of film and got the lift in, did a speed workout. And after our speed workout, we came back in and put our pads on and went outside, and we hit every special teams, went over some scenarios that we didn't like that we saw in our special teams, in our limited special teams from Thursday. But we went back over every special teams, repped every special teams, got work. Then we went in and did some more group. We had to have some more physical periods. I didn't feel like we got enough, didn't get enough live reps. So we did a best on best period. I remember 1D versus 1-0 and was able to get some more reps there. And then we were able to get a long period of times with our 2D and 2 offense. And they got a lot of work. We got a lot of good guys from that freshman class last year that they need a lot of reps, and they're going to be really big for us in the future. A lot of them will be stepping up as the season goes on. And once they get accustomed to everything and figure everything out, you'll see a lot of sophomores getting reps this year, and we're excited for that group. But again, we did a lot of more live reps with team, and we did some group period live reps with 7-on-7 and inside and a blitz pickup period. But we did it a little bit extended practice on Friday, which we weren't planning on doing due to the limited reps.
You had some guys over the summer dealing with some some scrapes and scratches and bruises and bumps and things. So was there any kind of silver lining, literally, to that rain, as far as not having that? Was there anything positive to come out of not playing that game? I can't really say, because I like to get the reps and get things, but one positive is everybody come out healthy, right?
So that's what you want. You want to get all your horses to the race. And, if you want to look at a positive note, everybody, all of our guys came out healthy after that scrimmage. So, that's good, beside the ones that we are limited right now anyway. And, sometimes, these kids don't realize overtraining can be an issue too. And, we got a lot of guys that just work, and they work when they're not around us. And, we've dealt with some more soft tissue injuries than we have in the year past. And so we're trying to slow some guys down and get them to rest and recover. That way their body's ready to go by week 1.
Before we look ahead to Lipscomb and this schedule for the 2026 season, I want to take a look back to some things from the summer, and it's something you've participated the past few years, Coach, and that's Titans Media Day down at Nissan Stadium. It's a special event bringing together coaches and players from around Middle Tennessee. They do photos, interviews. There's media coverage from the likes of the Daily News Journal right there in Murfreesboro, the Tennessean, 615preps.com was there. And if you aren't familiar with 615 Preps, check out Chris Brooks and his team, what they provide. It's excellent content. You need to take a look at it. They do live shows during the week. They do a live Saturday scoreboard show. It's all free. Go check out 615preps.com. And this year, Coach, you took a couple of seniors with you for this unique experience. It's really a positive thing down there. We're going to look at Gavin and Hudson in a moment, but what do you get out of that time to get down there? I know you were talking with some of the other area coaches.
You just go down there, and it's really good for the Titans to put something on like that. It's really special for the kids. I just go down there and hang out, and the kids enjoy themselves, and just kind of be a part of the media day, learning. Not a lot of kids have had that type of experience before with a media day. And they go and get their photo shoot. They get interviewed by several different media outlets, and it's a good experience for them, and it's a learning experience, because you can go back and talk to them about, hey, man, these are things you need to work on. Or, maybe you need to stress this in your more whenever you get interviewed. And it's something that's a life skill that they'll need for the rest of their lives, just being able to communicate with others and also being able to promote themselves and promote their brand. And I think, with how today's day and age, I think both of them did a great job with that.
Well, we did visit with Hudson and Gavin, two of your seniors. We asked them first to start with kind of what they've done individually to prepare for this season and how they think it may be a little bit different going into 2026 than it was last year.
Watching a lot of film, like not even just our own practices, but other teams that we played from this past year, guys coming back, and then it's really just helping my other DBs. Like this offseason especially, we all have been working with each other outside of practice, really just working on technique, working on different things that we can use for the upcoming season.
I think mental part is very, very, very important. I think I've messed up a lot mentally on the field, made a lot of bad decisions, handed the ball to the other team a lot, more than I should have. And so I think the speed of the game has really slowed down for me, and I think that's really important.
Picking up on small tendencies definitely help in understanding certain route combos. Understanding receivers, I feel like it's the biggest thing. Like body language, the way they run their routes, that gives away a lot. Especially in our region, that gives away a lot. So I feel like those are the things, like as a defense and as a person, I try to nitpick and help bring along with my other DBs.
And I think that really helped us as an offense as well, as having DBs and safeties just like him. I mean, it really helps us on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, we're playing against the best DBs in the entire state, and so it's going to make our offense better as well.
Coach, seeing your two seniors like that, talk a little bit about the competition between them. And I was having some laughs with them off camera. They were debating whether or not DB or quarterback was a more difficult, challenging position to play. But you've got experience on defense and on offense. I'm guessing you're seeing a lot of great competition in practice that'll benefit you when the games start.
Yeah, both of those sides, the quarterbacks are their side. Gavin, keeps all the receivers going and keeps them in line and making sure they're studying up to date on everything. And Hudson's the same way. He's a leader on the defensive side. And, he's got some new guys with him in the secondary, and he's getting them all on the same page and working with them. And they, he keeps a few of them after practice, when we go in and whistle blown, he's working, doing extra drills with those guys and getting those guys prepared. We moved Jalen Waller from receiver to corner, and I think Jalen Waller has had a really good spring, really good summer. And, he's preseason so far, he's been doing a great job. So we're expecting big things out of him. And that's just Jalen buying into our system, buying in, trusting the coaches. Our motto, our key word this year is trust. You got to trust your coaches. You got to trust your teammates. You got to trust yourself. And, that's just big. And, that's what Hudson's trying to relay to his teammates. Trust, they got to trust him to make the right call and get them lined up. So, that's been huge for us. And we did our 7-on-7 period. It gets really competitive, a lot of smack talking, not just between the players, but between the coaches. The coaches go back and forth, Coach Belchak and Coach Rail and Coach Bonds and, myself, and we all kind of chirp at each other, but it keeps the intensity going, it keeps it competitive, and it keeps the kids getting after it.
And these are two guys that are both committed to play SEC football, Coach, at Mississippi State and Starkville. They joined Sutton Gutting. You've got three guys as future Bulldogs. And we asked them a little bit about what drew them to Starkville. Update me on where things stand for Gavin right now.
Yes, sir. Just lots of prayer and talking with my family. And we decided to class up to the class of 2027 from the 2028 class. And I've committed to Mississippi State University, full commit. And I think that just wraps it up. I mean, it was really great for my family. My mom went there, so it was pretty good.
It really started with Coach Matt Barnes, the safeties coach. He was adamant about getting me down there and for me to see everything in person. And then as far as talking to Coach Levy, he was always straightforward with me, always honest, telling me how they saw me in their scheme. And then as the coaching change happened, where I had to start talking to Coach Kevy Thompson, same things. His philosophies were just almost identical to Coach Matt's. Really just showing me the scheme, showing me the opportunities I have ahead of myself, and just really just focusing on the task at hand, the opportunities.
The coaching staff is doing a really good job right now. Coach Levy's really turned the program around. I mean, Coach John's coming in and quarterback coach. It's been really good. And I think the program is really on the upside, and he's really just turned the program around in the past 2 years. So I think they're on their way up, and I want to be a part of it.
Every player is different. What connects and what lands with each player is different. But is there anything that's kind of the same across the board when you see successful recruiting, visits from these college coaches? You kind of what is consistently true? I mean, I'm sure that they're pitching not only their football program, but their academics and their venue, but what's connecting with kids in 2026?
Man, it's really tough, to be honest with you. The recruiting has changed a great deal since the transfer portal opened up and how these college recruit, So, a lot of it, they do a lot more position-specific recruiting now. The receiver coach will come in and recruit his guys, and the running back coach, the quarterback coach, whereas the old days, it was a lot of the area recruiters. You got to know one coach from that school, and he was the area recruiter. But now it's all about relationships. And so that's the consistent thing. That's why they're sending the position coach, because if the position coach and the player don't mesh, then it's not going to work from the get-go. So all these colleges, are constantly sending the D-line guys coming down to visit our D-line players, and because they want to know how he's going to take coaching, how he's going to respond, how he's going to answer questions. Are they looking at my, do they connect? Are they able to talk to each other? And unfortunately, everybody's not meant for everybody. So, that just as the coach is kind of interviewing the player's interviewing the coach and trying to figure out which program or which coach and which style best fits them. Because if you got a coach that meshes well with you and fits well with you, then if you go to that program, that coach will fight for you and have your back. And because again, a lot of these guys on 1 year contracts, and they'll tell them to hit the portal. So they have to have somebody in their corner fighting, because if you go to some place where you don't have that type of relationship with these coaches, then you won't have anybody behind closed doors when they're working on the rosters and cutting people that will have your back.
The other thing, I think, for your younger players and even your seniors, some of these guys that don't have offers, eyes on a program are eyes on everyone. So when they're out there, when they're watching film, game film, practice film, when they're live in practice, these are opportunities for other guys to get noticed as well.
Yeah, Laura was able to commit to Austin Peay this year due to having some great practices this spring. Austin Peay head coach was out here watching some other players of ours, and Gael caught his attention, and the guy went down to camp, did a great job this summer at his camped very well, and ended up being able to pick up an offer from Austin Peay, and then he committed to Austin Peay. So like you said, yes, it has benefited from others in our program by having college's eyes on and seeing these players and how they practice.
The last thing we asked both Gavin and Hudson about were what they were looking forward to in their senior year, kind of those special moments that they're looking forward to, and what they think the team has in store in 2026.
I think the work ethic of the team overall is better. I think the mentality going into the year is going to be better. I think people are recognizing that we have a lot of good players and a lot of talent across the board. I mean, defensively, offensively, O-line, D-line, receiver core, DBs, talent everywhere, talent in the backfield. So I think the way we're approaching the game is a lot different. I think we have a lot of college commits and college players that are really they're helping the mentality of the team, and people are seeing that we want to go places and that they want to play ball after high school as well.
What will you miss most about Friday nights in Riverdale?
To be honest, those home game environments, hearing all the fans as we walk out of the field house, giving dap ups to little kids, family, friends, and really just playing on the Riverdale field. I've been there before we even had the new turf, playing on the grass field. So just seeing it all evolve, and the environment's like no other.
Will there be a spear plant in your future, do you think?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get me one there. I'm definitely gonna get one.
Yeah. Energy is a big part of the team morale, and I think leaders are stepping up this year, and I think energy is going to be what carries us a long way this year. So I think that's very important.
Coach Hay he's like, we haven't made it yet. Season hasn't even begun, but we have not made it. We got something to prove to the state of Tennessee.
with teenagers, young men who have bright futures ahead of them, it can be difficult sometimes to keep them focused and on task, right? They know they're going to go play SEC football, and maybe they start looking ahead a little bit. I think in Gavin's case, he intends to enroll in January, so he's got a few months left in high school. But to hear them say, we got something to prove to the state of Tennessee, and to see your two offensive and defensive leaders there staying focused on the task at hand, that must be nice for you to see as well, and it'll pay big dividends as the season starts.
Yeah, they're both good leaders their side of the ball, and it's been nice watching them grow. Like Hudson said, Hudson's been around since his dad started coaching, so he's seen all the transformation we've had here. He's seen the field house being real. He was just a young kid back then, and he saw the turf being laid down, and he's been part of that, and the video board, and he's seen the whole transformation of the program and watched as he's grown up, and it's been special for him, and it's been special for me to be able to coach him. He's been around me for a long time, and just watching him grow on his mentality and his attitude, it's been neat, and it's been a fun journey for us.
Take a quick look at the 2026 schedule, Coach. It's different than last year in terms of 6 road games, 4 home games. It's the same teams that we saw a year ago, but we open up with Knoxville Catholic on the road, a team that went 6-5 a season ago. Then we're at Father Ryan, a team that went 1-10 under a first-year head coach. And then, well, we're over at Blackman, a team that had one of their most successful seasons in their history at 12-2 overall, finished second in region. You open up with those 3 road games, and as your team prepares for those, can you even look at that as a 3-game stretch? I know you're going to take it one game at a time, but that's a big chunk right there coming out of the gate.
Yeah, it's tough, but we need that tight to get ready for our region. Like you just said, we opened up with Blackman region play, so we need a tough Knox Catholic game. Father Ryan, under first-year coach, they've done a good job when I get some kids this off season, and they're going to be ready to go. Coach does a great job at Father Ryan, and they're going to take an improvement. I know they've had some really good showings during the preseason, and Knox Catholic has too. Knox Catholic had a really good showing last week against South Run in Nashville, and so they're very, very talented, and they've had a lot of new additions also to their roster, and a lot of new talented additions. And I think they even picked up one late last week from Oklahoma, a 4-star receiver. So it's going to be a very big challenge for us, and we got to be ready and prepared to go. As we really get ready for this 2026 season.
Then you come home for 2 games, Laverne and Stewart's Creek, September 11th. That's going to be the homecoming game. So homecoming very early, first game of the year. That's going to be a raucous night at the stadium.
Yeah, first game of the year, homecoming. It's going to be chaotic, but it's for the community. It's for the Riverdale Warriors, the alumni, and it'd be a good event for them to come out. And, a lot of people, when we had our 707, I had a lot of coaches come up to me and talk to me about how much our campus looks like a small college campus. We have beautiful facilities in our football facility, our baseball facility, our softball facility, just a newer addition, and everything around here is growing and looking good. And it does look like a small college. And it's something, the administration, myself, everybody's proud of around here. The community is proud of. This is home to a lot of people. I've been here since 2009, so the way this place looks, man, means a lot to me. And I'm proud to be a Riverdale Warrior, and I'm proud to work here and be a part of this and just see this place keep growing and getting bigger and bigger and better.
And that's Coach Chris Johnson there at Laverne in his second season. And you've got some Riverdale connections there, I know. Look, I've talked with him a few times, and I just think what he's done for the enthusiasm there at Laverne, there's some wins coming to that team in the not too distant future.
Yeah, Coach Chris Johnson does a great job. He's been a friend of mine for many years. I was able to coach his son, CJ, who's running the defense over there. And CJ is an excellent kid to coach. He had a great career at MTSU. He was a captain for that team before he finished up. And, CJ's, him and his wife about to have some twins. So I'm really excited for CJ. His future, and his dad Chris is doing a phenomenal job over there. And they transformed the weight room. They brought pride in that program. They're doing a lot of things. A lot of excitement within the media. to promote that program. And I heard him make a huge statement. He didn't lose any of his players this offseason. And that says a lot about what he's doing and being able to keep his entire roster this offseason.
And then after you take on Stewart's Creek with new head coach Stephen Reese, that's one of the top 5 largest schools in the state of Tennessee now there at Stewart's Creek. So that'll be a good matchup. And then you go on the road for another 3-game series set, including a bye week. So it's a long way away from home after you play Stewart's Creek on September 18th. The Warriors won't be home again until October the 23rd, but that 3-game trip at Columbia, at Smyrna, at Siegel. Smyrna, of course, qualified for the playoffs last year in that number 4 spot at a 5-6 record, 3-4. Siegel was 3-4 in region as well. Look, every game is a battle. We know that in this region.
Yeah, every game, every Friday night's a battle. Columbia is a much improved team, and they're doing a great job. Columbia's got everybody back from last year. I saw them at 707 and Alabama at UNA, and they're very talented. Both the kids back at quarterback, and he's an athlete. He can run around and make plays. And, everybody on our schedule, improvement with new coaches, new staff, new players. And, it's going to be tough. It's a very tough schedule. And like the kids were saying earlier, we got to take it one day at a time and be ready every day.
And then you wrap it up at home, Rockville on October 23rd, and then Battle of the Borough on October the 30th against the defending state champions from down the way. And then you look towards postseason, and that's the thing, Coach. You said it multiple times. At Riverdale, the standard is that you're in the postseason, you're competing for a state championship, no less the expectations this year.
Yeah, it's just the way it is at Riverdale. I knew what it was when I took the job. And that's just why these people think. Coach Rankin did a good job setting that in the 90s and the early 2000s. And, that's just what the community wants and what they expect each and every year.
Coach Trent Dilfer's back at Lipscomb Academy. That's the opponent this week. It's his second go-round after he went down to UAB and coached in the college ranks. What challenges does his Mustang team present for you going into this final scrimmage?
It's been really good. All the speed on the perimeter. They got a big physical running back, similar to Knox Catholic. They're big up front, so it'll be a really good test for both of our line, the interior line, if our offensive line, they taking steps each and every week to get better. And I'm very, very interested to see how they do this week against Lipscomb. And then you also, got the line, are they going to be able to get pressure on that quarterback? So we're interested in that. And then how is our secondary, are they going to be able to tackle in space? Our receivers, are they going to be able to make plays in space? We're seeing a very talented team out of Lipscomb.
Is the kickoff scheduled for 6 again, Coach? Are you going to go freshman first or after? I know last week freshmen were going to go after varsity. What's the schedule this week?
We're going to try to nail that down sometime today. I wasn't able to get a hold of anybody yesterday, so we're going to be able to try to knock that out today and have that format laid out for us.
Gotcha. Well, you can always stay tuned to the social media. They'll have those updates out there. If you missed last week's episode or any of season 1's episode, you can find them in our archives available to watch on our YouTube channel at AeroSportsTN, or you can find the audio versions on aerosports.mixlr.com, as well as on Spotify and Amazon Podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe on those sites. You'll stay up to date on Riverdale football throughout 2026. Next week, we're going to review the Lipscomb scrimmage. Coach, I got my fingers crossed. There is some weather in the forecast this week as well, but I'm hopeful we can get this game in.
I hope so, but we got to get it in. So we need that work to get ready for Knox Catholic.
We will also preview that season opener at Knoxville Catholic coming up on Saturday, August 22nd. And Coach, as the Mustangs come to Phil Watts Tomahawk Stadium Wednesday, I look forward to being out there, and I know that the fans are getting more and more excited. We're just another day, another week closer to the regular season.
Yeah, it's here. The football season's here, so everybody's excited. Everybody's ready to go right here.
And I hear them working in the weight room behind you, so I know the kids are getting excited as well here as school's just getting underway.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I didn't figure out how to get that background, but Coach Ellington's getting after them, getting after our freshman group right now in the weight room, and they're in their second period class, and so he's doing a great job with them, getting them prepared and ready to go.
No apologies necessary, not whatsoever. As long as work's getting done, that's a good thing. That does it for episode 3 of the Coach Will Krieske Show. Until next week, Warrior fans, be proud, be bold, be brave, and ever loyal. For Coach Krieske, I'm Chris Bosen. Thanks for tuning in. Good night.
The Coach Will Krieske Show. a weekly showcase of highlights, interviews, and insights from Riverdale head football coach Will Krieske. This is Riverdale football. All hail.